Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I want to get into an analysis of two specific battles and a focus on how to win in one specific rule set. It involves anticipating what your opponent will try, because the rule set really implies or dictates or attracts a certain style of play that you can anticipate and then counter. And it has to do with the weak magic rule set. So I'm going to show you first of all that rule set. Nope, that's not. There it is. So this is the weak magic rule set. You'll see this one from time to time, and it says magic attacks hit the armor before reducing health. So this is like void armor. It on those monsters that you have that have a high amount of armor, maybe a low amount of hit points. This rule set makes them really interesting, and we all recognize certain key monsters when we think about that. Shield Bearer being one of them. Shield Bearer coming out of the gate with 4 armor at the lowest levels and having 6 at the highest levels. And then of course you can drop Protect on that monster. There's a number of white life monsters that have Protect. The Sheriff, the Truth Speaker, the Defender. And then there are neutral monsters also that you could have either Protect or Resurrect. Resurrect is another ability that there's plenty of on the life team. Right Wing, Darius, Angel of Light, Chancius. And so this combination makes it really, really appropriate and powerful to use the life splinter in the weak magic rule set, because you're getting a high amount of armor. And that armor is going to be maximally effective in that context. And then you can add more armor in the form of all the different protects that are available. And you can restore that armor really easily with a Resurrect that's plentiful. And there's even repair combinations, like, you know, Adelaide Brightwing is going to throw repair on top of that Resurrect. So this is why it makes so much sense to play the Life Splinter in the context of the weak magic rule set. And so knowing that is really important, because it speaks to one specific response that you can counter with that will have a very high level of success, assuming you have in the neighborhood of like 35 to possibly 40 or more mana cap to work with. And it has to do with speed. And it's not even necessarily that expensive. If you've got, I'm going to show you 2 battles, and we're going to see what we get here. They both revolve around using Quick Sedivius, because that's going to open up certain dragon monsters that have swiftness, or that have slow, or that have blind. Those are 3 abilities that are going to make this, what we're going to try here, very plausible. See, in this battle, one of the rule sets was weak magic. And so I was expecting my opponent to drop white. I was expecting my opponent to rely on armor. And I was expecting repairs and resurrects. It turns out he actually dropped the Clay Golem, which is an unusual choice. But it's going to work for all the same reasons. The thing is, with the Nightmare having 7 speed at the highest levels, and then you being able to drop a number of blinds and slows and swiftnesses using the dragon ability, and then having the Quick Sedivius speed nerf, we're going to get up to 10 speed, and we're going to have a blind on top of that. And so we're going to be super evasive. And one thing we haven't talked about yet, but the Life Splinter, one of its major weaknesses, especially in the form of the Shield Bearer that we focused on at the beginning of the conversation, and the Clay Golem also, and the Adelaide Brightwing, is that they're all of those monsters we talked about, all of them, very slow speed, and then these ones, slow speed, kind of fast actually, but compared to what you're going to do to it with all the nerfs we're going to drop, the speed is not going to be there. And that's what you're going to see here in a moment. So just watch it. I mean, watch it work. I mean, really, we've got weak magic and we've got holy protection. So I'm going to slow down a little so we can comment a little bit while we're going. He's got a lot of sneak attack damage. I have 9 speed and a blind. I really should be able to avoid most of what's going on here. Now, he hit me, and I would say I have a 65% chance to dodge him or something. I would argue that this guy got pretty lucky killing me right there. And he could have missed me probably 3, 4, maybe even 5 more times before I went down. Regardless, we're going to have a positive outcome, because the blast damage from the Nightmare is very meaningful because the speed of the Nightmare is unstoppable in this context, and because these archery monsters are actually really, really powerful too. Not just are they adding to the swiftness, but they're actually very dangerous in and of themselves. The speed and the strength, and the speed and the opportunity. They're going to be, they kick out a lot of damage, and they are making the whole team so much more evasive. It makes the dragon archer that went down very evasive. There's a bunch of meat shield and distraction because of that, and then now, I mean, as you can see, it's over. And so there's a number of different ways to do it. If you have Kitty, that's going to be even better. I'm using Quicks Devious to kind of show that this is not necessarily a super expensive play to try. The most of these monsters are relatively affordable at this point. Let's watch one more version of trying that. And again, the same thing. When that weak magic rule set comes on, I assume my opponent's going to drop white and drop the life team. And if I'm right about that, you can expect a shield bearer with some resurrect, some repairs, and 2 repairs. And it's super standard. And so just watch it work. And again, in this context, I had more mana to work with, so I used the Diamond Dragon because I like the Last Stand ability and the armor from a sneak attack defense perspective. The armor is great, and the Last Stand is great if things go the wrong way and you have to rely on your last monster pulling you through. But look at these speeds. 9, 9, 8, and if you've got about 60, 50, 55, 60 mana to work with, this blind and scattershot blast damage magic is so powerful in the context because we've got 10 speed and we've got a blind. There's literally no way they could hit me unless they have True Strike, and there's very few True Strikes at this moment. Now, hang on a second, he hit me. How did he hit me? Got 2 speed, and does the immunity prevent him? Oh, he's not blind. He can't be blinded. Wow. Well, still, he's only got he's got a 10% chance to hit me. So immunity is kind of a counter to my counter, maybe, because the immunity would or dispel, because if you could hit me once with dispel, you're going to erase some of the swiftness I've applied. But as you can see, just no one is hitting me. And it doesn't matter if they're resilient. It doesn't matter if they have repairs and resurrects. We are just going to grind them down, and they can't touch me. And unless they go sneak hard, and that's why cards like the Diamond Dragon can be really helpful. Now, this is quite a bit more expensive than some of these other cards, probably a few $100s for that one. But these ones are relatively inexpensive. And if you're playing at a diamond level, this is probably not an uncommon build that you would have access to, I would think. Diamond or Champ, you're going to have these cards or be able to rent them. And so, as far as I'm concerned, if you see weak magic, you can assume that you're expecting a white team to play, especially if you can look at the last 5 battles that your opponent has dropped and you see any signs of them using life. If that is their main team, that's just something you can come to expect. And because it makes so much sense because of that high armor, high repair, high protect, high resurrect type sort of build style within the white, you can really expect them to lean on that. And then you also know that whole playbook brings slow speed to the table, and then you come hard with the slows and swiftness, and you're going to find that you're going to get big wins out of that one. And so those are 2 that I've had in the last, that's one of the victories I just showed you, and that's the other one. So it's the last 3 games, and that's why it's kind of fresh in my mind. I wanted to share with you, but I really thought I think that's an important takeaway. I think this is a common thread where white is being used in that situation. And if you recognize that, and if you see signs that your opponent is likely to do it because they've used it over the last 5 battles, it's so much the better. It's really going to give you that opportunity to counter. And the Nightmare is particularly powerful in the context of either Quicks Devious or, of course, Kitty, but Kitty's far more expensive. Then you can bring that speed play in an effective, powerful, and potentially inexpensive manner, if assuming you're not using Kitty, because Quicks is quite affordable. So guys, that's all for right now. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Have an amazing day. God bless.